Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Arsenal preview and your latest Manchester United news. I hope you're doing well. I'm very excited because this is the first show on a Friday in a few months now where we don't have to talk about some ridiculous transfer story because we can talk about football and we can have the normal United Stand Friday night show where we can kick back, do a bit of a Q&A and relax ahead of the weekend and get into what you want to talk about. So welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing well. I've had a haircut for you as well, so we're looking fresh and hopefully looking good. But yeah, look, let's get into the show. Lots to discuss on the show. We've got obviously comments from Erik ten Hag's press conference, which Adam covered earlier. We've also got some interesting comments around Erik. I actually think, I'll give you the story. So basically, Rob Dawson, ESPN, saying that Anthony, Manchester United wanted to walk away a couple of times, but it was Erik ten Hag's insistence that made them sign Anthony and go in with a bigger offer, and that they've spent more more this summer than they normally would because of Erik ten Hag's persistence. And on a basic level, you'd say, "Oh, go on, Erik, well done." Actually, do you not think that? I'd love to know where Rob Dawson got that information from, basically, because if that's coming from the club, we go, oh yeah, well done, Erik ten Hag. But if Anthony flops, it wasn't our fault; it was ten Hag's fault. So I'm just a little bit, maybe we can delve into that in a little bit as well. Obviously, we're going to kick off straight away talking about the Manchester United versus Arsenal game at the weekend. Massive game, and Erik ten Hag has a selection dilemma. There's a few selection dilemmas, absolutely no doubt about that. Philip, thank you very much for the super chat. So we know Anthony Martial is out of this game. I mean, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw may well be out of this game as well, but in a way that's irrelevant. I want to talk about the wider squad a little bit later in the show. I'm very happy with the team at the moment. Really happy with the team at the moment, as I'm sure many of you are. And look, in no way am I a founding member of the Harry Maguire fan club. I do like Luke Shaw, though, and I don't mind Harry Maguire as an option for Manchester United. But now is not the time to start, reminiscing of when those players were playing. They will have a time again. I read an article today about what is the future for Harry Maguire now that Varane and Martinez are the number one partnership. I mean, the future is, let's pray neither of those two players get injured. That's the most important thing. But ultimately, I think one of them will get injured and Harry Maguire will come back into the team. So it's interesting, actually. I've done a video. I've got it going up in the morning for the members. So if you are a member, check it out in the morning. It's going up. I recorded it tonight. Effectively, if you want to be a member, you get your badge next to your name, and we do extra video content as extra stuff for our members, which reminds me, new video coming tomorrow for everybody on this channel. I think you're going to be very excited about what's coming. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But basically analysing Maguire's games against Brighton and Brentford comparable to Martinez and Varane's game around certain statistics. It's very, very interesting. Despite our perfect start to the season, I'm worried that the amount of injuries we suddenly have in midfield will allow United to overrun us. What do you think? Hope you and your family are well. I think that's Existence, who is an Arsenal fan. And Sean is a new member. Welcome to Members Club. So look, let's fly into this. Martial's out. And I think that that's the team I would go with. David De Gea in goal, Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen, Rashford back on the left, Ronaldo through the middle, and Sancho off the right. Anthony is available. Erik ten Hag said that he had a training session today, and he'll have a training. He said he had a training session yesterday. He'll have a training session today and tomorrow. He'll be on the bench. 100% he'll be on the bench because we just haven't got the depth in the attack to not put him on the bench. So he'll go on the bench. There's an outside chance he'll start, and you never know with Erik ten Hag because we're learning by the day ourselves. By the game, sorry, we learn more about Erik ten Hag. But I do not think he will start him in that game. I think he will play. So I don't think that we will see Erik ten Hag start Anthony. Therefore, Anthony's on the bench, and that's therefore the team I would go with on my left. Mikhail Roach, thank you very much for the super chat. I just basically think, and I'll hit this head on straight away. I was having this chat with Ricky earlier, who's been very impressed with Scott McTominay and Eriksen, and he likes the way those two are playing together. And I'm sure we'll have Ricky on soon, and he can delve into that as we know he will. I find myself in this weird position where the one game Scott McTominay probably shouldn't get dropped from is the game I think we have to drop him from. Now, I don't think Erik ten Hag is going to drop Scott McTominay, which makes this very confusing. But on what I think should happen, the game will be won and lost in the midfield. Our defence is very good. Our attack needs to improve. But games are won and lost in the midfield. And at home, we cannot... Leicester had over 50% possession. At home, we cannot let Arsenal have 70% possession like we did Liverpool. We've got to get on the ball. And if we're going to get on the ball, we've got to win the midfield duel. Now, Casemiro, to me, against Leicester last night, was a little bit sloppy at times, but at other times, he was absolutely unique in his ability to play a first-time pass forward into a player. This is a guy that is basically Varane in the midfield. He's won Champions Leagues. He's one of the best players in his position in the world. And we are playing a game that we need to win. And I'm all for picking people like McTominay because they've had a good game. But McTominay can't get in the Scottish midfield. Casemiro is one of the best midfielders in the world. I don't think Ten Hag's going to do this. But tell me, look, the same thing happened against Brighton and Brentford. I said before both games, I don't understand a world where Harry Maguire is benching Rafael Varane. And I don't understand a world where Scott McTominay is benching Casemiro. So I will say the team I think we should pick. And obviously Ten Hag will pick the team he thinks. And hopefully we will win. But I think you've got to pick Casemiro in this game because he is better than every Arsenal midfielder. And we need to win that midfield battle. If you pick Casemiro, can you pick McTominay as well? You can do. But then you've got to drop Eriksen or Bruno. And this is where I become confused about what we're going to do on Sunday. I think Casemiro is going to be on the bench again because I think Ten Hag will not drop McTominay, and probably you can understand why. As I said, he's probably the most undroppable he's ever been, but I just think you've got to put Casemiro in. He won't drop Eriksen. Eriksen's played nearly every minute he's been available for Ten Hag. Eriksen is fundamentally key to Erik Ten Hag, and Bruno's the captain. So unless we're going to go with a formation change, I think Casemiro starts this game on the bench because I don't think he'll drop McTominay. For me, I'll be absolutely fair and say this is the first time I've ever said McTominay doesn't deserve to get dropped, but this is Manchester United, as Gary Neville would say, and sometimes you've got to make big choices. And it would be unfortunate for McTominay to get dropped because he did play well last night. But it's Casemiro or McTominay. And I'm in the same position I was at the start of the season with Maguire and Varane. I don't understand a world where you drop Varane for Maguire. And I don't understand a world where you drop Casemiro for McTominay. So that's why I would do that. Mark, are you personally attending next year's pre-season if it's in USA? I will be, Matt, yes. Hi, Mark. Do you think there is any future for Donny? I don't understand why he isn't playing, says Hayden. Can you remind me of that a little bit later? I have an answer for that. And as long as Ronaldo sits on the bench with sour face acting like a child, he doesn't deserve anything, says David. His petulance is and always will be United's problem. David, does your mouth... Why is your mouth on your arse? You're talking absolute arse there. What are you talking about? About petulant, moody faces? Grow up. We're not in kindergarten. We're trying to win football games. Petulant, moody face being the problem. Well, I tell you what, David, if he's the problem, why did he win Player of the Year and score 18 goals in the Premier League last year? Come on. Screw your head on before you start typing. Neil, welcome to the Members Club. So that's the midfield I would go with, but I genuinely do think Ten Hag will go with McTominay and bench Casemiro, and it might be enough. It might still be enough. But let's not forget, one of the big problems we've had is attack. We've defended well, but we haven't attacked well. So we can all talk about how well McTominay played, but let's be honest, the midfield didn't really link with the attack very well. I think Casemiro's got to start playing games of football. And then the front three picks itself. If Anthony's not ready to start, and I don't think he will start him, you can't start Alanga and put Rashford through the middle. Ronaldo has to start this game. Martial's not fit. We cannot play Rashford up front, and we can't start Alanga. So unless he's going to chuck Anthony in, put Rashford down the middle and go with Sancho on the left, which he might do, I think you've got to start Ronaldo in this game. And I think Ronaldo is massively important to Manchester United because in a game like this, the fear factor is important, but the quality is important as well. Ronaldo allows you to be able to hit that long ball down the middle, and he will hold it up or win the ball. The link-up play with Ronaldo is good, and he also, in the penalty box, is much better than Rashford with his movement. So I think Ronaldo's got to start the game. I don't know whether he will start the game, but you can't start Alanga. I like Alanga, but you can't start Alanga in a game like this. You can't. So unless he starts Anthony and puts Sancho on the left and goes with Rashford down the middle, which I think is a mistake. I don't think Rashford's a forward, and I think Saliba and Gabriel. I mean, that's the main reason I would start Ronaldo. Look at the opposition here. Saliba and Gabriel, they're not slow, they're physical. That's going to be a problem for Marcus Rashford. He's physically not good with his back to goal, so he'll get dominated physically. And both Saliba and Gabriel are fast enough to deal with his pace. So Rashford down the middle is also... He's nullified before the game's even started. Rashford off the left, potentially up against Ben White or Tomiyasu, who's coming back from injury. That's where you want Rashford in a game like this. But down the middle, you can't start Rashford down the middle. You can't start Martial because he's injured. So for me, it's got to be Ronaldo. Casemiro started off great but faded as the game went on. McTominay has had a good run of form. Maybe give him one more game, then start Casemiro, says Oz. But then Oz, if you do give him one more game and we lose, let me put some context into this game. United will play on the counter. Ronaldo will be on the bench, says Sam. I don't want to see us on the counter at home, Sam. We might have to do it, but I don't want to see that. I'm David. I'm not even listening to you anymore. Sorry. A super chat is not a right to dominate the show. So I'm sorry, David. No one wants to talk about the event. So David wants us to talk about the Juventus dressing room with Ronaldo now. David, that's the sound of your hollow head. Hello, David. Hello. David, hello. Juventus. He was at Man United last year. Player of the year, 18 Premier League goals. What are you talking about Juventus for? People forget Delo is still young at 23. Lots of development still in him under a proper coach, says Joshua. And not a dig at Ricky, but we need him on after normal McTominay performance to explain why he was still so good, says Tim. Yeah, Ricky will be on soon. I think we've got to look at how we win this game. And as I said, the way this game will go, Rashford can't be a number 9. Mourinho was right, says Matt. The way this game will go is Arsenal. I've watched Arsenal play. I think I've watched Arsenal. The only game I didn't watch of Arsenal was the Fulham game. I've watched Arsenal every time this season. They're very good on the ball. They're very progressive on the ball. They're very direct and they're very confident at the moment. And they're playing as a team. If we give them the ball, they'll beat us. We've got to get the ball off them. We can't give them 70% possession because unlike Liverpool, Arsenal actually have a balance from back to front at the moment. Jesus is on fire. Martinelli, Saka. They've got no weakness in their team at the moment. You've got to go toe-to-toe with them. You can't hit them on the counter. You can't hit them on the counter. You literally can't hit them on the counter. They haven't got Johnny Evans at the back. They've got quick centre-backs. They're not going to get caught on the counter. We've got to push. We've got to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal. And anybody who says, "Oh, let's not change a winning team." So let's not change a team that against Leicester and Southampton got us the win because of the defence. The attack didn't play well against Leicester and it didn't play well against Southampton. And the midfield didn't link with the attack that well. So anybody who says, "Oh, let's pick the same team that we did against Leicester and Southampton against Arsenal," we're inviting pressure. Leicester and Southampton. We're inviting pressure. Now, where we are at the moment is we've won 3 games and we've lost 2 games. We've got 9 points from 15. That's not amazing. That's only 1.5 points from dropping 50% of your points. This game is almost a cliff edge for United. If we win it, I feel we get the season back on track. 12 points from 18 is not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. If we lose it, 9 points from 18 is 50% of our points dropped. So we're going into this game with a lot of confidence, but we've also got to go into this game with a lot of focus. Sticking with a winning team because we ground out results against Leicester and Southampton is not really the mentality we need at home in front of 75,000 fans against the team that's top of the league and deserves to be there. We've got to have a better plan than hit on the break, which is what we basically did against Leicester and Southampton. If we're going to have a better plan, we've got to have better players. Ronaldo's got to play through the middle, and I believe Casemiro's got to come into the midfield, but we'll have to wait and see about that one. But also, let me add a bit of context here. If we drew against Arsenal, if we grind out a result against Arsenal, is 10 points from 18 good? No, not really. It's 8 points dropped. Again, it's nearly half your points dropped. 10 from 18 is nearly half your points dropped. You know what happens then? We go to Palace next weekend, who have a whole week off when we play on Thursday, and we're away to Palace. Then we play Leeds at home. Okay. Then we play... who've we got next 5 games? So, yeah, we go Palace away after Arsenal, but after 3 days from the Sociedad game, where we'll probably make a lot of changes, to be fair. Leeds at home. Then it's the international break. Then we've got City away and Everton away. So after Arsenal, we've got 3 away games and 1 home game. We've got Palace away, Everton away, City away, and Leeds at home. Now, if we beat Arsenal, I quite fancy us to go and get some points out of those 4. If we don't beat Arsenal, you're like, them heads can drop. Look, Ten Hag's doing a great job, but those minds of those players at United, do you trust them yet? Mark, with this season being so hectic with all these fixtures piled up together before and after the World Cup, should Erik Ten Hag focus on the league or the Europa League, says Sarab? I think you make a great point there, and I'm going to come back to that. Arsenal are averaging 15 shots per game. I'm not sure Casemiro can protect the back four himself when Arsenal load the midfield, says Rory. Well, I'm wondering if there is a way of playing McTominay and Casemiro, but if you do that, you've got to drop Eriksen or Bruno. Now, I'll say something to you here that I was going to mention, but I don't know whether you're ready for it. I don't think you're ready for this. I actually don't think it's a bad idea to play Casemiro and McTominay with Eriksen and dropping Bruno. I've said it. Because Casemiro and McTominay give you a good shield in front of your back four against the very good Arsenal side, which means you've got to drop Eriksen or Bruno. Well, who would you drop out of Bruno and Eriksen? This is a hypothetical. It won't happen, but if you could play Casemiro and McTominay for a bit more defensive stability, I don't think he will do, but you could play McTominay and... everyone says it's either McTominay and Casemiro, so it's Casemiro for me, but you could actually find a way of playing them both. You'd have to drop a Bruno or an Eriksen. Well, at the moment, I would drop Bruno because against Arsenal, I would want a player at the number 10 who looks after the ball and keeps the ball. And obviously Bruno's not that player, but Bruno's the captain and we've won 9 points from 9, so he's not getting dropped. So I think it will be McTominay over Casemiro, but I am saying you could play both. McTominay was not good in the second half yesterday, but got better once Casemiro came in. Ten Hag gave Casemiro more time yesterday. Surely he starts, says Sharath. Having an open forum doesn't mean trashing my opinion, says David. Ronaldo, oh, David, I've had enough, David. It's not an open forum. I warned you once. I've told you again. You're boring everybody. You're a troll. It's not an open forum to be trolled. Otherwise, we'll get Arsenal fans chucking in comments as well. Sorry about that, everyone. I don't mind opinions that are different. I don't mind Ricky or someone like that or anyone going, I'd start McTominay, which we've had already. But David's just being a troll. Why do all these old mostly? Well, I don't think I can use that. I don't think it's got anything to do with race, Drac. But he's basically defending Ronaldo. Don't feed the troll. It's alarming how our attack only showed life when Ronaldo subbed on. Balls into the box, runs into the box. Ronaldo needs to start, says IC. You know what? I will say this. I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo, but if Martial was fit, I'd start Martial. I'm not obsessed with Ronaldo starting. I just think Rashford through the middle doesn't work and he'll get absolutely chewed up by Saliba and Gabriel. It'll be a hard job for Ronaldo. Very hard job, but Rashford, I just can't see him doing it. And also, would Fred be better than McTominay for balance, tenacity with Casemiro, says Akash. A lot of people quite like the idea of Casemiro and Fred in the midfield, but that ain't going to happen at the weekend. It's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. Not going to happen. So, talk about the game, score prediction. I'm going to go for a draw in this. I think it will be 1-1. I think the defence of Man United's played really well, and I think we're defending really well as a team. And I think Arsenal defend well and we probably cancel each other out. Their attack at the moment is better than ours. Our attack in the last couple of games has been a bit, all over the place, to be honest with you. But with Anthony on the bench and Ronaldo through the middle, I think that hopefully we can be more of a threat in the final third. But I think this game... It's funny, I was doing an Arsenal podcast earlier. I think this game could be a game that David and the Glazers out, says Tyler. I think this is the sort of game that could be decided by a penalty, a VAR decision, a red card. And the reason I say that, not because it's Man United against Arsenal and that traditionally is a big game. I actually think this is a big game. I think this is the biggest game of the season so far. And normally the biggest game of the season is like Liverpool, Man City, but they haven't played each other yet. But if Liverpool would play Man City now, would it be the biggest game of the season? Because Liverpool have not had a good start. It probably still would be. But Man United against Arsenal is the biggest game of the season so far. Arsenal are top of the league outright. Man United are 6 points behind them, and it's at Old Trafford. This is not just Man United, Arsenal, and Man United and Arsenal fans pretend that this is a big game. This is actually a big game for the first time in ages. And I say that proudly, and Arsenal fans should say it proudly as well. For the first time in years, Man United versus Arsenal is actually a big game out of Man United and Arsenal fans. It's a massive game. It's the biggest game of the season so far. So, in that sense, I do think that both teams have got to go for it. And therefore, I think red cards, penalty decisions are obviously always possible. But I think both teams will go for it in a very big way. I mean, there's the league table for you there. Arsenal top with 15. We've got ourselves up to 6 points behind them. Obviously, if we don't win, they go 9 points ahead. If we do win, we're 3 points behind them. So it's a massive, massive game. And I think that Manchester United and Arsenal, to be fair, both teams have got to go for it. It's got to be tempo, it's got to be aggressive, and we've got to be up for it. Because if you lose that, you'll lose the game. Mark, my question is how any team can compete with City. Haaland is looking to be one of the best. Mark, I've got no interest in City. We're playing Arsenal. Arsenal won't win the league, and we won't win the league. So Man City is not our concern at the moment. We're nowhere near Man City, and whilst it's annoying and they're miles ahead of everybody else, they've had stability in the same manager who's been tweaking that team for years. That's why they are where they are. We need some stability and we need some time to build at Manchester United. We are not here to topple City yet. And we were never going to be ready in 2 months. So let City do what they're doing. Arsenal is a more realistic game to actually go and get a result in. I feel like Elanga would be a fantastic right wing back, says Kevin. Look, Ricky really likes Elanga. We're going to get him on to have a chat. I mean, he's a hard-working player and I like Elanga, but the last couple of games I think he's been out of his depth. Players looked exhausted Thursday. Could we see him making changes, says Carl. Good point. Very interested to see how Anthony and Ronaldo will play with each other. Anthony cutting in and poking balls to the back post will be very important, says Matty. Just my opinion, but McTominay is so dreadful most of the time that when he has an average game, people say he played well, says Kishan. I thought he played well last night. I know what you mean. I think we've seen it with Maguire and others as well. They have a load of bad games. They play okay and people think it's a good game. But I actually think McTominay played quite well last night. Defensively, he did anyway. Why not try Casemiro and Bruno with Van der Beek? Well, that's not going to happen, Ashish, at the moment. It's the same with Fred. That's just not going to happen. I think it can work, but it's not an option for Sunday. Ronaldo's really trying hard to impress Ten Hag and win his place back in the starting 11, but he needs a chance to do it and needs a start, says Majek. What I don't understand is why Garnacho isn't being introduced if Elanga is still being considered. Well, I think Garnacho's just there. Garnacho won't be on the bench anymore now Anthony's here. I think he's just there to give an option that we don't really have a lot of depth at the moment. And Nick P says, what do we know about Ten Hag so far? He doesn't rotate a winning team. We're not playing the way he wants to play yet. Smells to me like a man taking small steps in a new league. Time is needed. Exactly, Nick. Very good point. And got a funny feeling it could be McFred and Casemiro plus Eriksen and Bruno with Rashford on his own. Pack the midfield, says Glenn. I mean, look, we're all picking a team based on how Ten Hag plays, but he might play in a very different way. You're right. I'm really excited about Dubravka. He's magnificent and could be United great. He's proved it at 4 leagues. Delo is also great, says Drac. Okay, we'll keep an eye on Drac. He might be a troll, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. So, yeah, I think it'll be a draw. I want to win. I think we can win it. And I think we need to win it. I said it before the Southampton game. We need to beat Southampton, Leicester and Arsenal to get this season back on track. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but we've got the third game. We've got to win this game. I think if we lose to Arsenal, we're back where we were after losing to Brighton, where it's like, oh my God, we've won 3, lost 3. That's not great. So there's a bit of pressure on us, but I don't feel the pressure. I don't think the players will feel the pressure. I don't think Ten Hag will feel the pressure. This is just Man United playing a big game at Old Trafford. And at Old Trafford, against Arsenal, I fancy us, but I've got a funny feeling it might be a draw, but I really, really hope we win. Arsenal have got injuries to key players. That could be key, Daniel. Apparently, Zinchenko won't play, but we've got Martial out as well. There's talk of Odegaard not playing as well, and Partey's probably not going to play. Lissandro started off after only half a pre-season game. Erik Ten Hag seemed eager to start his signing. Think he starts Anthony because it's his signing, says William Massey. He might start him. Should play 5-2-3, Casemiro and McTominay in midfield, says Dieter. Well, we'll wait and see. We've had our say on that, and we'll wait and see. But very, very excited about it, and I think it's going to be a really, really, really interesting game. And as I say, I think if we start with the same team that started against Leicester, we give Arsenal the impetus, really. I just don't think we'll get hold of the game. We all know Ronaldo won't start, says Majek, and sounds like ref will be important. Who is it, says Catherine. I don't know who the name of the referee is. If anyone knows, let us know. But there was a good question in there about the Europa League, and it's becoming more and more apparent, isn't it, that this season's going to be hectic. It started off this week. We played Thursday night, we play on Sunday, then we play Thursday, Sunday. And basically, apart from the international break, between now and the break for the World Cup, which is around the sort of 6th of November, Man United are playing twice a week for the next 2 months. It's a ridiculous. So is everybody else if you're in Europe. I mean, if you're Crystal Palace and that, you get a week off. But we're playing all our Europa League games and a Carabao Cup game midweek before the start of November. So it's going to be very, very hectic. And I was thinking about this today, and that question on the Super Chat earlier is absolutely spot on. With the intensity of the schedule this season, I know us and Arsenal, funnily enough, have said that let's try for top 4, but let's try and win the Europa League because that's another way of getting into the Champions League. Is it actually viable to do that this season? Is the schedule too much for the squads that we and Arsenal have got? Because Arsenal have got a similar problem to us. They've got a good first 11, but a couple of injuries in a certain area of the pitch, and you are in trouble. Man United basically up front. Martial's injured at the moment. If you lose another player, whether it's a Rashford or a Ronaldo, we're thin up front. And Arsenal have got that problem up front as well. So can Man United and Arsenal go for top 4 and go for Europa League with the same team? And the answer is probably no, you can't. You probably can't. And I actually think we will get this proven to us very, very soon, next Thursday. I sense a hat-trick coming out of Ronaldo. Cheers, Mark. Hope so, Alonso. Hi, Mark. Don't you think De Gea's ball-playing capabilities seem better with Eric? There's work being done there. His passing will get better. It's interesting, Shawnak, actually. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I did a combined 11 on That's Football today, and I upset a lot of Arsenal fans because my back 5 was United. My front 4 was Arsenal, but my back 5 was United. And I'd said in the video, I think De Gea is a better shot stopper than Ramsdale, and I don't think there's a big difference in their distribution. Well, Arsenal fans were telling me how great Ramsdale is at passing out from the back. But if you compare their stats on the first 5 games of the season, their passing out accuracy, long and short, is very similar. So there has been an improvement in De Gea. I still think he can improve more, but there has been an improvement in his passing out from the back compared to where he's been last season, that's for sure. Any chance Maguire will start against Arsenal, barring injury? Do you see a scenario where Erik Ten Hag might prefer using him over Martinez or Varane, says Stephen? And do you think Ten Hag will start De Jong versus Arsenal, says Dieter? You're hilarious, mate. What are you doing on a Friday night, putting crap jokes in here when you could be doing it in a comedy club? God, you'd pack them out, you would. Yeah, hilarious. Seriously, apparently passing stats mean nothing now. Bio. Okay. I suppose scoring goals means nothing, doesn't it? Idiot. But it's Friday night. I'm loving it. I love a bit of banter on a Friday night. You've made me... Yeah, okay. So we've got Real Sociedad on Thursday. Good question there from Stephen about whether Maguire will play any games. I think on Thursday, well, it's funny, I was talking to somebody today and they said that there's a chance that Ten Hag is just going to completely change the team on Thursday, because if he doesn't, when can he give other people game time? And also, you're playing Thursday night against Sociedad and then you're playing Palace away on Sunday. So, whilst the Europa League's really important to United, we can afford to get through that group with the second team. So what I think is going to happen against Sociedad next Thursday is, and we might change the keeper as well. Dubravka might make his debut, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Dubravka starts. But I expect next Thursday, I can almost pick a team where it's Dubravka in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Fred, Donny, and probably he might start Casemiro if he doesn't start against Arsenal. And then front 3 will be a little bit more difficult because Martial's injured, but you'd probably see Alanga start. Maybe Ronaldo will start if he didn't start against Arsenal, and maybe Anthony starts to get some minutes. So I think we're not going to pick our best team against Real Sociedad next Thursday, and that's probably a wise move. So, and the point of discussing this is what Ten Hag has been talking about. We have not got a best 11, we've got a squad. And at the moment, he can't make many changes. Certainly can't make any changes to the defence. The defence is so good, you can't afford to give Maguire 20 minutes at the end. You can always afford to change a winger or a striker because you're winning 1-0, and if they miss a chance, you're still winning 1-0. But you can't take Varane off for the last 10 minutes when you're holding on to a 1-0 lead. So there's no opportunity for some of our defenders to get any game time at the moment. But I think he will pick a lot of the players that haven't played yet. And that would include a Donny, a Maguire. And what do they do in a game like that? If they play well, I don't think they start against Palace. You know, it's Varane and Martinez and it's the midfield. I don't think Donny starts in that game. But you just keep yourself ready. You show your professionalism. Maybe you put a man of the match performance in. You just register yourself into Erik Ten Hag's thoughts and you keep yourself fresh and ready. And that's the game for Donny and Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw at the moment is they've lost their place. I mean, some of them never had a place in Donny's place, but they haven't got a place in the team. They have got a place in the squad, and they will get a chance next week. So I think we'll see a raft of changes against Real Sociedad. And the great thing about that is that he'll still be playing a game every week, because if you pick Maguire and Shaw and everyone against Real Sociedad, and then the first team plays against Palace, the next Thursday we're away against Sheriff in Moldova, so you'll play Maguire and everyone again, and then on the following Sunday we're playing Leeds, you'll pick the first team again. So I think it's going to settle in for United to have a first and a second team playing in the Europa League, and that very, very quickly. Good evening all. In my opinion, it would be very naive for Erik Ten Hag to start Scooby-Doo over Casemiro against Arsenal, says Eric. Thank you, Eric, for your super chat there. Hi, Mark. Don't you think they have done that one? Welcome to the Members Club, Pete. Do we think that Klopp prioritised certain cups, etc., to League or Europe? So why do we? This is our problem, says Ryan. All right, let's be real. Our defence is solid enough to beat Arsenal. That's the real question, says Revolver. And love you, Mark, but you're using 5 games as a sample size to judge their passing stats. Go to last season. It's silly, says Game Day. Love you too, Game Day, but you're using a previous manager to analyse somebody's passing stats. So should we look at Delo last year or should we look at him now? The only thing that matters at the moment, Game Day, the only stats, I refuse to go back to last year to look at De Gea, Delo, Maguire, anybody. And I'll be consistent on this, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Hearth says, drop Rashford to Sancho, Ronaldo and Anthony. We need as many creators as possible. And welcome to the Members Club, Faroe Islands. Right, I'll tell you this. So I respect the point. Isn't it great to finally have a bit of positivity in the club? Loving Ten Hag, says Glazers out, says Tom. I'm loving having these type of shows where we're not talking about an Artovich or Rabiot, where we're talking about the team and Ten Hag, and we're having proper conversations again, which is great. I love these sort of conversations, the hardcore, I call it, the real community. The transfer stuff's great, but this is what it's all about. So going back to what was said there, I compared De Gea and Ramsdale and said that their passing stats are quite close this season, right? I get somebody there saying you can't do that because the pool of games is too small. 5 games is too small. You need to go back to last season. I don't need to go back to last season. That's where everyone makes a mistake. Last week, somebody said to me, well, all right, Varane and Martinez are doing... This was after the Southampton game. No, it was before the Southampton game. It was after the Liverpool game. Somebody said to me, well, the stats are that Man United's win rate without Harry Maguire is actually really bad. And I said, why are you going back to last season? Why are you going back to the season when we had no fans in the ground and we parked the bus? I know the pool is small, but the only pool that you should be dipping your toe in is Ten Hag's. There is no point in looking at De Gea, Delo, Maguire, Varane, Bruno. There is no point looking at their stats from last year. They are clouded by Downing Tools, Ollie, Ranić, and all the problems that we had last year. The only pool of stats that are worth looking at the moment, and it isn't big, is 5 games. But on Monday it becomes 6. And on Thursday it becomes 7, and after Palace it becomes 8. That is the only pool of games that you can look at, because this is a manager that we've only had for 5 games, who is coaching us in a completely different way. And we're already seeing, with the likes of McTominay, Delo, Varane, Martinez, different performances that we wouldn't have seen last year. because of the coaching. So it's going to take time to get a bigger pool of games to really analyse stats, I agree. But there's no point going back to last year because that's just a different time with a different coach and a different mentality. We've got a new coach playing a different way, and at the moment, the signs are good. Because if you tell me about the last 2 years where our win rate with Harry Maguire is quite good and when he doesn't play it's quite bad, I would say to you, all right then, let's ignore all of that and look at this season. We've played 5 games this year. In 3 of them, we've won them and Maguire didn't play. In 2 of them, he did play and we lost. Well, that's harsh on Harry Maguire, but to be honest with you, it's more relevant than last year because we've got a new manager now. And our win rate with Harry Maguire is 100%. Without Harry Maguire is 100%. And our win rate with him is 0. That is not very fair because it's only 5 games, but actually, let's see what it's like in, a couple of months' time. Hi, Mark. What do you think will be the score of the Merseyside derby, says RNG. I hope James Garner starts and I hope that Everton win. That would be nice. Of course it would. Etihad, I don't know what we're talking about the Etihad for. Norman says, we've grinded out results and nothing more. And in a sense, Norman, you could be a troll, but in a sense, you're right. We have grinded out results, but you don't grind out results like that on luck. You grind it out on organised communication and talent at the back. That back 5, and Erik ten Hag said it in his press conference today, the opposition are not creating chances. We're depriving the opposition of chances. You can keep a clean sheet because they're bad at shooting. You can keep a clean sheet because they hit the post 4 times. You can hit a clean sheet because you're blocking shots. Aston Villa against Arsenal, first 20 minutes, Arsenal could have had 3 goals. It was just blocks and this, that and the other that stopped it. We're not doing that. Leicester and Southampton, they're not creating chances in the box where it's like, oh, they should have scored that, or oh, what a great block. We're depriving, Ten Hag is spot on, we are depriving the opposition of opportunities. We are defending fantastically well. And like Arsenal coming to Old Trafford on Sunday with this noise in their ear that they haven't played anybody decent yet, United are also going into that Arsenal game with a very good defence, but people are saying you haven't played a decent attack yet. This game is not, it's not biblical or anything like that, but it's got so many interesting aspects to it. Arsenal deserve all the plaudits. They've played good football. They have played some good teams. I thought Fulham gave them a really good game. 5 wins from 5 in the Premier League is there to be respected. 1 goal conceded in 3 is there to be respected for our defence. This is the first big test. Martinelli, Saka and Jesus are 3 of the best forwards in the Premier League at the moment. But this is a big test for Arsenal as well. Old Trafford against the United team that's won 3 in a row. When 2 sides collide, who's going to come out on top? Do you think Erik ten Hag can afford to go for it against Arsenal, or will he take a more pragmatic approach? He's not going to go for it, absolutely go for it, but I think we've got to go there with the intent of winning while still defending well. Do you have any advice? I keep trying to trim the grass, but my yard looks worse than Southampton's pitch, says Poochie. Have you turned it on? HTD says it's kind of odd. We think Bruno hasn't been his best in the past couple of games, but the pundits saying he's been playing class after hating on him before, says HTD. Revolver says, ask Goldbridge as an Irishman, Santry born and bred, where do we finish this season? And how important is this game to figuring that out? I think it's too early in the season to figure that out, Revolver. But I do think if we lose, it could damage our season because 3 wins and 3 losses, you're back again going, oh my God. I think a loss on Sunday knocks us back a bit. A draw is probably going to just make us go, let's see. And if we win, I think we're really back in amongst it. Hi Mark, can you put on the Frankie Goes to United shirt? Says Billy. Go screw yourself, Billy. And Riker, in the nicest possible way, Riker says, love the inverted positions that Malacia takes up in the midfield during games. Really solidifies things. Yes, I agree with you on that one. And there was a point there that I wanted to come back to, and I can't remember what it was now. I think that with Arsenal, how they approach the game is going to be really interesting. They'll be confident because they're playing good football at the moment. They'll come and play football. And I think that we really need to get the crowd behind us. We've been so bad at this for so long. And if you think about it, the Liverpool game was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I spoke to Adam and Beth about this, and there's a few journalists have said it as well, that the atmosphere inside Old Trafford for Liverpool was unrecognisable from anything we've had in quite a while. We need to get that crowd up for that again. And the way we got the crowd up for it was because we actually attacked with intent and looked like, especially in the first half, looked like we were going to, cause Liverpool problems from minute one. Liverpool had 70% possession. Now, if we play the game like we did against Liverpool, but don't let Arsenal have 70% position, we'll be a very dangerous team. And I know that we've not attacked well against Leicester and Southampton, but I think there's a real opportunity against Arsenal that's not really being spoken about enough. The home crowd. The home crowd will be massive. This is not Ollie in charge. This is not Ranić in charge. This is Erik ten Hag in charge, and he still has a lot of money in the bank. And what I mean by that is the fan base is 100% behind him. And if we can start that game in the right way and get that crowd up, they'll stay with them for 90 minutes like they did against Liverpool. So I think we're underestimating the home crowd, but we've got to give the fact. The thing about United is no crowd can be with you if you don't give them reason to be with you. We've seen United. I've been to Old Trafford a few times, in recent years, under Ollie and under Mourinho, where it's like flat. The atmosphere's flat because the team's not performing. These players have got to give these fans something to get behind in them first few minutes, and then we keep it going. I think the Old Trafford crowd, and I've said this before, the Old Trafford crowd before the game is simmering. It's always simmering. That's what Old Trafford is. It's simmering. You only need to knock the heat up a little bit and it's boiling. And then it will stay boiling for the rest of the game. But when it's simmering, if you turn the heat down, it will go cold and it will stay cold. And it's very hard to get it back up again then. So look, let's get that crowd going, because I think that is something that we can hit Arsenal with. And I'd almost say if this was at the Emirates, I'd be worried, because their crowd's up for it this season. So let's use the home advantage. Let's not give up the ball. Oh, look, Eric is playing your combined 11, says Chris. And hi, Mark. I will be at the Arsenal game. Old Trafford will be absolutely rocking. Hopefully we can make our home games a real fortress again, says Mike. Yep. Alanga to press for 45 minutes. Ronaldo, Casemiro for 45 minutes. Anthony cameo. Want a good performance and attacking play. Draw is okay, but a win is awesome. It's interesting from Rohit. Welcome to the Members Club, Waxy. It's interesting that Rohit would actually start Alanga, which means you'd start McTominay. I mean, he might do it, but I think it. You know what? The more I think about it, the more I think he might just go with an unchanged side. And if he does, as I said last night, I don't agree with it, but I respect it. But my issue with going with an unchanged side is that Southampton and Leicester, the front three didn't play well. So if you're going with an unchanged side, that just seems a bit simplistic to me. Like, the front three didn't play well against Leicester and Southampton. So why would you not change a winning team? But on the other hand, maybe he doesn't want to start Ronaldo because Ten Hag agrees with what some people say, is that Ronaldo's not energetic enough from the front. Which I disagree with, by the way, because I think you can visibly see that Rashford does not run around a lot up front. Especially in the second half, he was dead on his feet. So I don't agree that Rashford gives you a better energy than Ronaldo up front. He's quicker, but I don't think he puts a bigger shift in than Ronaldo. I think you probably get a similar sort of work rate, to be honest. But for me, the big problem is that I like Alanga and I like Rashford, but Rashford's not a centre forward, and Alanga's really not offering as much on the wing. Put Rashford on the wing. I think it'd be a real shame to not get Rashford running at Tomiyasu or Ben White as well. I think that's where we could really hurt them a little bit. Luke's had a big spag bol. I had my lunch at dinner, mate. I had my lunch at dinner. I had my big meal at lunchtime. Yeah. It was nice. I went to Coates in Solihull and I had, it's a French restaurant. There was this lovely bread and then it was mushrooms in a sauce on top of it with a poached egg. That was my starter. Beautiful. And then I had like these breaded haddock things with chips and a salad. And then I had a lovely sort of plum ice cream custard sort of, I don't know what it was. Very nice. Very nice. There you go. Lunch menus with Goldbridge. The protests will be... Kim, yeah, look, I've not forgotten about this. There will be protests on Sunday as well. That Glazer out movement that people think is dying out. I don't know what you're doing with your ears, but if you listen to the game last night, that Glazer out movement's very, very, very active on a match day. It's still very, very active behind the scenes, and it'll be very, very active on Sunday visibly. It'll be a big protest again, and it'll be a lot of songs in the ground again. So it'll be visible and it'll be heard. And, I think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think everybody would agree that Manchester United have spent more money on Erik ten Hag than they've spent on any other manager. That had to happen, by the way. So I'm not handing out Blue Peter badges for this. Manchester United have spent more money on Erik ten Hag than they have on Solskjaer and Mourinho in their first year, and Van Gaal. So bloody what? We've just had our worst ever Premier League season. Oh, it's almost like the club think, well, we've just spent more money on Ten Hag than we've ever spent on anyone. Oh, how have you? Well done. What do you want me to applaud you? We've just had our worst Premier League season ever. We didn't even get 60 points. I should think you have spent some bloody money, you useless prats. So, Man United have spent more money than they've ever spent on a manager in the Premier League era. On Erik ten Hag. And protests on Sunday will take place because of the Glazers. That's beautiful. That sentence belongs in a book-winning prize. It's lovely. You know, at the start of books, you read Wuthering Heights or the classics, and it'll have something like, on the windy moors, Heathcliff mourned for Cathy. Wuthering Heights. You know when you open up a book and it's just got a couple of sentences. What a book it would be. You open it up. Manchester United spend more money than they've ever spent, but the Glazers out protests are louder than ever. That's fantastic. That is fantastic, and it will perplex the Glazers. It will perplex the club. They've spent all this money, and still the protests are getting bigger. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I applaud it. It's brilliant because it shows that things are changing in the fan base, that no longer will a Sancho signing or an Anthony signing null this fan base into forgetting about why we really want the Glazers out. And I love the Glazers. Donuts, says Alex. Great. Okay, well done, Alex. And hi, call my fiancée Caroline a prat, says Ryan. Oh, Caroline, you know what to do. Lock him out. Of all areas. I think the reason Rashford is playing up front is because Ten Hag doesn't trust him to track the wingers, says Rory. All bigging him up, but while we are, as the fans are saying, he's playing average, why do you think that is? It's because he's doing the basics. I think he has, says HTD. And Zombie, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you there. But yeah, the Glazer out movement is alive and kicking, and it's going to be interesting how it works because we spent all this money and people are not being. They're not just going, oh, let's crack on with it. Because I had somebody say to me today, they replied to one of my tweets and they said, Goldbridge is still Glazers out after the club spent more money than they've ever spent. But it was a rival fan. And I can't be arsed. Because they're all right. Look, I understand it, but it's like sticking your nose in a beehive. When you get stung, it's your own fault because you're sticking your nose into something that you shouldn't be involved in. So when a rival fan goes, look at them, they're Glazers out, but they've just spent 200 and something million. Yeah, we are. Do you want to do your research, idiots? It's not about, we know we've spent 1.2 billion now in the last decade. The Glazers have spent 1.2 billion in the last decade. No, they haven't. The Glazers have spent nothing. Man United have spent 1.2 billion in the last decade. Most of it's been spent badly by the people that the Glazers employ. So that's another reason not to like the Glazers. But we're also in debt. They've also taken hundreds of millions of pounds in dividends. They've also cost us between 1 and 2 billion pounds in debt repayments. The club may have spent 1.2 billion in the last decade, but if we didn't have the Glazers in charge, we probably could have spent 2 billion in the last decade, also buying better players, but also building a stadium. So when people say to you, a rival fan says to you, you've spent 200 million and your Glazers out, that doesn't make sense. It makes a lot of sense because it's not about what we've spent. It's about what we've given to the Glazers, what we still give to the Glazers, and what we owe to the Glazers in debt. They're not good owners. It's like somebody getting hold of £1 million, right? And that £1 million should be distributed to everybody fairly. And instead of it being distributed fairly, they distribute £500,000 of it fairly and take £500,000 themselves. That's basically what the Glazers do. The pie that is Manchester United is massive in relation to revenue, but most of the pie goes on debt and the Glazers, and then you've still got a large chunk of the pie that looks like massive investment, but actually is only a small proportion of the money we should have, because the Glazers have locked it up in debt or paying themselves. I just want to talk about Bruno as well. There was a good point about Bruno Fernandes. A few people were saying about Bruno Fernandes getting a bit of praise from the getting a bit of praise from the chat. Not a bit of praise from you, but a bit of praise from the media in his last few games. I'm a massive Bruno Fernandes fan. A massive flan. I'm a Bruno Fernandes flan. That's some sort of pie, isn't it? I'm a massive Bruno Fernandes fan, but I'm also a believer in being fair. And as we said last night, McTominay played well, credit where it's due. Bruno Fernandes, over the last 6 months, certainly since he got that new contract, has been pretty poor. But I'm perplexed by Bruno at the moment, because when we create something, he tends to be involved. Statistically, he's a brilliant player. But it's not all about stats, as we know. Bruno Fernandes can get a goal and an assist and play absolutely terrible. We've seen him do it. He can also not get a goal and an assist and play really, really well. We've seen him do that. He's the captain of this team and we've won 3 games in a row. Is that coincidental? Has Bruno had a massive impact on this team as a leader? I think at the moment, it's difficult to sort of decide what Bruno is. As I said, if you wanted to play Casemiro and McTominay, you'd have to drop Bruno or Eriksen. And logically, I think Eriksen suits the team better. But you're not going to drop Bruno Fernandes. So I think Bruno's playing better at the moment. I don't think he's playing badly. But I don't think he's playing anywhere near as well as he can play. And I certainly think that he's going to have to change the way he plays if we are going to change the way we play. If we want to be a high possession team, then Bruno needs to take care of the ball more. And we were talking about that all summer. But at the moment, I'd lean towards he's doing well rather than he's doing badly. But I still don't think he's near what he can be. The goal against Southampton was magnificent. Mark, for us younger fans, can you explain how the Glazers deal was even allowed to happen in 2005? I thought they bought the club on debt. They did, Mark. And it never should have been allowed to happen. And many fans at the time fought valiantly to try and stop it. But the Premier League let us down, really. And the people involved at Manchester United who did the deal let us down as well. There's a lot of parties to blame in that. It's not just the Glazers. It never should have been allowed to happen. Never should have been allowed to happen. And it wouldn't be allowed to happen now. You wouldn't be able to buy a football club like that now. Unfortunately, we were the example of how it can go wrong, and it will never happen to another club now. Right, anybody, look, thanks everybody for watching. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great to be back, and we've not spoken about transfers at all, which is absolutely brilliant. As Mark says, it's been absolutely fantastic. I just want to leave you with a bit of positive news. Some of you might not know about it. Only goats will. We used to do something called the chart show, where basically I was a big fan of music, top of the pops, top 10. I decided with my creative mind to come up with a show called the chart show, where each week we'd count down from 10 to 1 the top 10 Man United players of the week. Some people have said, please bring it back. I'm happy to tell you the chart show is back tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. It will be going up when we count down this week's top 10 Manchester United players. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I might not sing on it anymore. I know my singing used to be a bit divisive on the chart show. Maybe we'll go back a little bit more serious with proper analysis as to why they're in the top 10. But yeah, it's ready to go. I've got the top 10 written here. I could tell you who it is, but I'm not going to because it's going to go up tomorrow. The chart show is back tomorrow. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. Have a good day, evening or morning or whatever you're doing, and I will see you tomorrow. Remember, Man United are playing on Sunday. Got a busy day for you tomorrow, though. We've got a few bits going on. I'll be back in the morning with the morning show, of course. Got the chart show coming in at some point as well. And I've got watch-alongs and stuff tomorrow to do on That's Football as well. So busy weekend again. And thanks for your company. I've really enjoyed it. This has probably been my favourite show in months. And I love the transfer window, and I know you lot do as well. But this has been my favourite show in months because I feel like we're back. I feel not united, but I feel like we're back as a community where we can just delve into things that are football related in more depth and analyse the games and who should play and why not. I've loved it. It's been great to have some football chat tonight. So big shout out to the community. I know I tell you you're great enough, but absolutely brilliant. Loved the show tonight. Take care, everyone, and I'll speak to you later.